Hi everyone and welcome back to Rose's Delicious Desserts channel. Today I'm back with another cake dessert recipe for you guys. I'm making Mother's Day cake with mirror glaze that makes your cake very beautiful, very incredibly delicious. And always I'm going to top it up with so much incredible chocolate strawberries on top and chocolate swans and some very beautiful pink flowers on top and write I love mom on the top. This cake is incredibly delicious and fun to make, and I hope you will enjoy that. So if you're excited with me, let's get started and I'll show you how to make this beautiful and incredibly delicious cake. So I have 9 large eggs that I'm going to place them into my mixing bowl. And I'm going to add half a cup of white granulated sugar into it and 1 teaspoon of vanilla powder. If you're using vanilla extract, you have to use half a teaspoon of that. That's enough. So I'm going to whisk it on high speed for about 7 to 8 minutes until it gets completely light and fluffy and almost white in color. So I have whisked it for about 8 minutes. You can see the right consistency, how light and fluffy this is, how white in color this is. It is thick and pale. So let's go for the dry ingredients. I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour and I'm going to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder and I'm going to mix the dry ingredients into the batter. And it's time to sieve the dry ingredients into the batter. And gently and thoroughly fold everything into the batter very slowly, so be careful. And it's time to add my cake batter into 2 8-inch cake pans and I'm going to bake it for about 20 minutes. And I have preheated my oven to 115 degrees centigrade and I'm going to bake it for about 20 minutes. So I have 5.5 cups of whipped cream and I'm going to whisk it for about a second, for about 20 seconds I think, that's enough. And place it into the refrigerator for about 3 or 4 hours until your whipped cream completely set into the refrigerator and it gets itself and it gets perfect forms for decorating the cake. So for the pink flowers on the top, I have 1.5 cups of whipped cream. I'm going to add some red food coloring on top to make the pink flowers on top. And I'm going to whisk it for about a couple seconds. And I'm going to place it into the refrigerator for about 3 or 4 hours until it gets set overnight. So I'm going to transfer the whipped cream into a pastry bag with a pebble tip. You can use any types of tips that you have on hand. So I'm going to make some beautiful roses on top, just like this. Be careful. Like this. And I'm going to add some beautiful petals on top. That's so beautiful. So my cakes are baked and I let it cool completely, and I have added some whipped cream on top, and I'm going to add some sliced bananas on top. And I'm going to add some chopped walnuts that makes your cake very beautiful and delicious. So I have added the next layer of the cake, and I'm going to add a generous amount of the whipped cream on the top of the cake and cover the cake with this beautiful whipped cream on the top. Roll it around the edges. One tablespoon of unflavored gelatin, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water. So here I have a small saucepan, and I'm going to add half a cup of white granulated sugar in it. You use 1/3 cup of white granulated sugar, that's enough. And 1/3 cup of water. And I'm going to mix the sugar and the water until the sugar is completely dissolved into the water. So my sugar is completely dissolved, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of corn syrup. Instead of corn syrup, you can use glucose too. And I'm going to mix the glucose and the sugar, and I'm going to add my spongy gelatin into it. So it just gets up to a simmer, and I'm going to turn off the heat. Just like this. When it gets up to a simmer, it's time to turn off the heat and add my sweetened condensed milk. I have 1/4 cup of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm going to add it into the batter. Going to add some white chocolate chips. You can use 50 grams of white chocolate chips. You can use any types of chocolate chips. You can use some dark chocolate too. And I'm going to place it into a glass jar, and I'm going to let it cool completely. When it gets cooled completely, I'm going to add some red food coloring because I'm going to make a bright red mirror glaze for the cake. So I have placed my cake into the freezer for about 3 or 4 hours until the frosting gets itself, and now it's time to pour the mirror glaze on the top. Just look at that, it's so beautiful. Very slowly add this on top of the cake. So, and that's it for my Mother's Day cake. I have decorated this with so much incredible pink flowers on it, with some strawberries on it, chocolate swan, and write "I love mom" for making the cake more beautiful. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and share with me on Instagram.